What's going on, guys? It's Zero to Hero, and this is my wild card review of the 4 football games that happened over wild card weekend over the past 2 days. And we're just going to jump right into the games. We're going to start off with the very first game that came on, and probably the best game that came on. Indianapolis versus Kansas City. What a game that was. You're going to see me look down at my phone a lot because I'm about to reference a lot of this stuff. But what a game. Colts came back from 28 points down in the third quarter, and they rallied back to beat Kansas City 45-44. That was probably the biggest heartbreaker Andy Reid has probably felt in his whole NFL coaching career. And the Chiefs had that game won. They should have won that game. But when Andrew Luck picked up that fumble and ran in there for a touchdown, it was pretty much over from that point forward, even though the Colts were still losing. But you could see that the momentum shifted when he scored that touchdown. There was no doubt in my mind that they were going to lose that game, the Colts. But I'm not going to lie, I was like, wow, there's no way the Colts are coming back when they were down like 24-10. And once they got down 31-10, I was like, nah, there's no way they're coming back from this. I stopped watching the game, and then I look back, and I'm like, oh, shit. They're down by 3 points. Wow. That's crazy. And then Kansas City kicks a field goal to go up by 6, and they just let T.Y. Hilton get behind them. I don't know how they let that happen. The only receiver they really had to stop that whole game was T.Y. Hilton, and the Chiefs didn't do it. He had like 242 yards receiving. And, I mean, when you're going to let one guy beat you, the one guy that you go into the game planning for, saying, we're not going to let this guy beat us, and you let that guy beat you. Kansas City just pretty much did everything they could to lose that game. They pretty much played like Dallas when Dallas played Green Bay. And then, they played like they were down in the second half instead of leading when they should have just ate a lot of the clock up. But Kansas City, they deserve to lose that game. I say it's more of a Kansas City loss than Indianapolis win. Even though, I mean, Andrew Luck threw 3 picks in the first half. I mean, no, he threw 2 picks. In the second half, when they were scoring, he threw a pick. They scored 2 times. He threw another pick, and then he scored 2 more times. So, I mean, the Chiefs, man, they had every opportunity to win that game. They just chose to give it away to the Colts. The second game that came on was the Saints versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't give the Saints a chance to win this game. I'm not giving them a chance to win to Seattle. But the Saints are just a different team away from the Superdome than they are on the road. And I mean, when the game started off, they still didn't look like the same Saints, but they got acclimated to the situation, and they started running the ball better and better. And I don't know, Philadelphia offense just kind of looked weird, just kind of looked a little weird. And I mean, it was just weird just to watch them do it. I mean, they scored off a couple of quick plays. But, I mean, in that whole game, it just looked like the Saints were in control the whole game. Even though the Eagles led at some points, they didn't. I mean, they were up at the end of the game until the Saints kicked that field goal. But, I mean, it just looked like the Saints controlled the whole game. Deshaun Jackson didn't have a catch until the second half. And I watched that game, the whole game, and it just didn't look like the Philadelphia Eagles were just ready to play that game. And it seems like whoever wins the NFC East are always gone in the first round, except for the Giants, who, when they win, they win this fucking Super Bowl. But we're going to go on to the next game, because that game, it was okay. It wasn't as exciting as the other 3. Well, it was the third best game, because, wow, I can't believe that goddamn Cincinnati got beat like that. San Diego beat them 27-10. And Cincinnati was I want to say, one of the 2 only teams that was undefeated at home. And they had the 3rd ranked defense. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Marvin Lewis is probably going to get fired because he has never won a playoff game as a head coach. And you can only do that for so long. I mean, if this is like your first couple of years and you don't win a playoff game, okay, that's cool. Like if the Colts would have lost, okay, they've been one and done 2 years in a row. But that's Chuck Pagano's first 2 years coaching, Andrew Luck's first 2 years of playing in the NFL. But the last 3 years when they've made the playoffs have been gone in the first round. The first 2 were by Houston, and now it's by San Diego. And I didn't give San Diego a chance to win that game. I thought Cincinnati was gonna handle them good and just go walk in and play the Patriots, but it's not the case. Now San Diego's going to play Denver, and Indianapolis is going to play New England, and those are going to be some great games. The Colts against the Patriots, Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady, and then you got the rematch from San Diego and Denver, and with San Diego beat Denver and Denver, so that game could go either way. Even though I see Peyton Manning, pulling out Peyton Manning magic and winning that game, but Peyton Manning doesn't win playoff games most of the time, so anything can happen. That's what my mom said. My mom's been calling a lot of these games. I don't believe her most of the time, but she's been calling a lot of these games. And then the last game that was played, Green Bay versus the flipping 49ers. That was a good game. I'm not going to lie. That was a good game all the way down to the end. Aaron Rodgers didn't complete a pass in the first quarter. He came back strong. He looked like Aaron Rodgers of old. I thought that Aaron Rodgers, after he hurt his collarbone, it would take him a while to get back into the game. Because if you watch the Chicago games, he didn't look like Aaron Rodgers on the final touchdown pass. He didn't lead his receiver as good as he normally does. But he looked like Aaron Rodgers that won the MVP. He looked like Aaron Rodgers that won the Super Bowl MVP. It was a lot of times in that game where I thought Aaron Rodgers was sacked and he got out. I remember it was one play. I think it was somewhere on the goal line. And you had San Francisco 49ers players all over him. They grabbed him and everything. I thought he was sacked. And then all of a sudden he just squeezes out there and hits. I forgot their receiver's name. It's number 18. I think it's Randall Cobb. And he hit him. And I think they kicked a field goal on that play, on that drive. And San Francisco, Green Bay just can't beat San Francisco. I don't know what it is on that final drive. I mean, they just let Colin Kaepernick get on the outside. And he hit an 11-yard run on a 3rd and 7, and that pretty much ended the Packers game right there. They just went on to kick the game-winning field goal at the end of the game. And I mean, I don't know what it is. The Packers just cannot beat San Francisco. They just have their number. Green Bay just cannot stop Colin Kaepernick. They can't stop him passing the ball sometimes. They can't stop him running the ball. This is the second playoff game where they pretty much let Colin Kaepernick beat him running the ball. I think he had over 100 rushing yards. He might have had over 90, but that's still way too much to give a quarterback running the ball. So what the playoff matches are going to look like next week are going to be Indianapolis going to New England. You're going to have San Diego going to Denver. You're going to have, I want to say Carolina. They're going to play San Francisco. San Francisco is going to go to Carolina. And then you're going to have Seattle go. You're going to have the New Orleans go to Seattle. And I think Seattle's going to hand it to the Saints. They did it a couple weeks ago. They might do it again because, that's the loudest stadium in the NFL. I think there's only a certain couple teams that can beat Seattle with Seattle, and the Saints aren't a good road team. I don't care what anybody says. They just got their first playoff road win. I don't think they're going to get their second one this season. So I think their season is going to come to an end in Seattle. The San Francisco-Carolina game is going to be really good, really interesting. I want to say San Francisco is going to pull it out because they have that experience. But Carolina's defense is really good. But I have to see what Cam Newton's going to do. This is his first playoff game. And until I see what he can do, I have to say San Francisco is going to win that game, even though I think it's going to be really close. In the Denver-San Diego game, I don't want to say Peyton Manning is going to lose. I don't want to see that. I want to see Peyton Manning make it to the Super Bowl because if he gets bounced out in his first time playing again, it's not going to look too good for him. Even though he's going to win the MVP, he's hands down going to win the MVP. When you throw 55 touchdown passes and have over 5,000 yards passing, you're going to win the MVP hands down. But he cannot lose in San Diego. He can lose in the AFC Championship game. Now, if he loses to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to be as bad as if he loses to San Diego in Denver. And then the New England Colts game, I feel like that's going to be a close game too, but I'm going to have to give it to Tom Brady. I feel like Tom Brady's going to make it back to the AFC Championship game. The Patriots always seem to be in the AFC Championship game no matter what. It just seems like out of all the teams, they're the most consistent. They're going to be in that championship game. I still think Andrew Luck has that magic 2 weeks in a row. But I have been wrong before on these picks, and I hope I'm not wrong this week.